Is the sound on? Can you hear it okay? Let me begin by saying thank you so much to this community and to Pastor Susan for the invitation to speak today and share a little bit with you about what we do as what we call kirtan, aka Bhakti Yoga. Yoga is a word that's used a lot. It's thrown around a lot for lots of different purposes. We have, obviously Hatha Yoga. It's all the little studios in the strip malls. That's typically not what we think of in the East about yoga, although they do yoga in the East as well. But the types of yoga we talk about ordinarily in this context are karma yoga, which is the yoga of service to other people. Mother Teresa, for example, is a wonderful person who carried that message and helped the poor and the invalids and whatnot, and who needed help. Her whole life was dedicated to karma yoga. What they call Jnana yoga is the science of wisdom. Ramana Maharshi, for example, an inquiry, self-inquiry, waking up through just using the mind to keep going back upon the mind until it finally dissolves into what it's not. Now, some people call Jnana Yoga non-duality or Advaita Vedanta. I try to stay away from that most of the time because if you ever noticed, you ever been on Facebook and seen a non-duality or a spiritual group talk about love and all they do is argue and argue and argue? And so that's Jnana Yoga is kind of talking about and knowledge, wisdom yoga. Okay. And then what we do is something called Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is this: I am love. It takes advantage of our native emotional nature that yearns to be united with what we truly are. And it uses that in the service of that awakening. And I have a belief that, I think it's more than a belief, to be honest with you, but I think we come into this world kind of knowing who and what we are. Not in terms of words and thoughts, we're too young for that, but we have full, open awareness of the cosmic reality that we are. And then we begin to identify and become a person, right? We learn how to walk, we learn how to move these things, we learn who mommy and daddy is, we get a name, and we develop an identity. And what happens is that identity the consciousness that we are begins to believe that it is that single, separate, long-lasting, independent, separate entity, right? And then we feel that separation from what we always were and always will be and always I am. Put it that way, I am. And so the I am becomes very contracted down into a single individual entity as a thought. And something inside of us doesn't quite accept that. And some of us, like in this community, are lucky enough to kind of wake up to something like, wait a minute. In my case, I'll just use myself as an example. Somewhere around my late 20s, I kind of came to, so to speak. I can't remember my 20s. They were pretty wild. Well, come on, I think you guys understand things like orange sunshine, purple microdots, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, and I wasn't very happy, and I looked at my family. I was raised a Methodist, and I had to confess that my Methodist family had a better idea about what life was about than I did. And I kind of did a 180 and went back to school, got an engineering degree, and built a business, and that was great. Nothing against any of that. But one day, I had done all of that stuff. I was an engineer in 6 states and was doing very well, and had a daughter that I loved and had raised, and had a big house over in Shady Croft, over in Littleton. And one day it was just like, this is not it. They told me that if I had enough money and the right house and a 4-car garage and blah, 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 that was what this life was for. And And something in me said, no, this is not it. And I got interested in yoga. And one of the CDs that came to my house was called the Yoga of Chant. It's by a guy named Krishna Das. Have you guys heard of Krishna Das? He's a compatriot of Ram Dass. Ram Dass went back to India. He went to India twice, Ram Dass did. The second time, he took a group of people with him who wanted to meet his guru. And this guy, Krishna Das, was one of those people. And he stayed in India for 3 years, and then he got kicked out of the ashram and was told to come back to America. And he said, what am I going to do in America, right? And it came to him to sing. And he brought this thing we call kirtan to America. He became an overnight hit. His music was played in yoga studios everywhere. And it has this call of the heart, the longing, the call. It's a vibration. I didn't see what time I started. Okay, doesn't matter. I'll get there. But this emoting. By the way, this has been going on for centuries. This tug of war between the mind and the heart. You know, the Vedas are the oldest scriptures on the planet. They were written, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 years before Christ, and they were 5,000 years before that. They were just handed down orally, and finally someone learned how to write stuff, and they wrote them down. And it was all these rituals and things and hymns and only the Brahmins were allowed to do this. And so the regular folks, you know, weren't allowed to even be religious. They just had to toil and work, and were serfs. And there was a rebellion. The Buddha came along and he said, no, spirituality is for everybody. Every person, every man and woman has the right to wake up. And this changed the whole culture. And then, I don't want to do a whole history lesson here, but then that group got into a lot of things. They call it Tantra. It's a lot of rituals and orgies and drinking and meat eating and all this stuff they did a whole bunch of. And then there was another rebellion. Adi Shankara said, no, this is not it. And so he went back and forth between this heart and mind. And then I'm just going to fast forward here to, like I'm a child of the 60s. A lot of us in this room, I believe, maybe are. And our parents' generation came out of World War II, the Great War, right? And they had this idea that this was what we fought for. This is life. You get a 2-car garage house. You have a good job. You get, we're all baby boomers. We all came out, not all of us, sorry. I don't mean to put everybody in my age bracket. But a lot of us came out of that age, and we were taught by these parents that this is what life is. This is the Methodist, Christian, Baptist, Presbyterian, Catholic upbringing, right? That this is what life is. God is this thing over here that we pray to, and we work hard, and God gives us this. And it's like having a motorboat, and God is the engine, right? And we're driving the boat, and we want power from God. We go say our prayers, and we get power. But that's not the way it actually is. Because the one who's driving the boat, who's getting the power from God, is not actually a separate entity from God. And something in us knows that. It's like, wait a minute. How do we get back to the truth? And this emotion, this longing, this like a child crying out for its mother or its father, it's based in we are love, we lost the love somewhere, and we want to be the love that we are. And that tension, that structural tension, creates this earnestness. Nisargadatta Maharaj, he wrote that yellow book called I Am That, if you have ever seen that book. He said over and over, earnestness is the key to waking up. If you're not earnest about your spiritual path, if you're not really wanting this, it doesn't happen. So we have to want this. And then this emotion of wanting, it's a desire. I want to wake up. I want to be what I really, truly, actually am, which is not just a single, long-lasting, separate entity. We are actually consciousness itself. and that's emotion and lead us into that. There's the dissolving in kirtan. We sing, we clap, we forget about all our troubles, and they've got to dissolve, they disappear, we just merge into the sound and the dance and the movement. And then at the end of it, the mind has settled down. It stopped thinking about all its troubles and problems of the world, and it's just here, it's just present. And we sit in quietness, oftentimes for 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the kirtan. I'm not saying a lot about the kirtan. Kirtan is basically Sanskrit mantras, Sri Ram, Jai Ram. We're going to do one today for the congregational hymn. I said it again, didn't I? Om Namah Shivaya. You have a beautiful Shiva Lingam here. Beautiful, one of the biggest ones I've seen. You know, do you guys know why we have a Shiva Lingam here? It's once upon a time, Shiva and Vishnu and Brahman were having this conversation. Those are the three the trinity of the Hindu gods, the top ranks. And Shiva called these other two, Vishnu and Brahman, and said, I want you to find who's going to be the top dog. He was a pillar of light in both directions. So he sent Vishnu in one direction, he sent Brahman in the other direction, and they came back, both of them exhausted. They could not find the end of infinity, what we are. And this represents the infinite, the formless infinity that we actually are. I didn't know, it's your church. I shouldn't be talking about your church like that. That's my understanding of Shiva. We sing Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva is the formless sense of presence that we actually are. Vishnu is the devotional aspect of that, and Brahman is the creator himself, the one that brings it all into existence. Where can we go from here? How are we doing on time? Can we pull the screen down? I'm going to talk a little bit about the mantra we're going to sing. There's we'll go ahead and get it on the screen while I'm talking here. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. There's a story, the Hindu religion is based upon two fundamental epic stories. One is the Ramayana, depends on which part of the country you're in, which is the story of Ram and Sita and Hanuman. The other epic story that they tell in India is the Mahabharata, which is the whole story of Krishna. The 18th chapter of which is the famous Bhagavad Gita, which is a whole treatise on all the different kinds of yoga that are available to us. By the way, yoga, the reason we have these different kinds of yoga is we as humans have different temperaments. It's not one size fits all as humans. It's, but Bhakti yoga is for those of us that have this emotional, musical, right brain sort of dominance, because we can use that to pull us in the direction of spirituality and towards our true nature. Now, so Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai. The first time I heard this mantra, I recognized it as something that was, these names, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, come from a place, Sanskrit, a revealed language, meaning the people who, and the rishis, the sages who created this many, many years ago, were very, very high folks. And the vibration of their being, these words came out of that vibration. And by chanting and singing these particular words, it pulls us in that direction back to our source. See, and then there's a story in the Ramayana. There's Ram, who's like, God. And then there's Sita, who's born of the earth, which represents sort of us, the soul, and our yearning to be what we really are. And then there's Hanuman, who every story has a bad guy. So the Ramayana has a bad guy named Ravana, right, who steals Sita, which is our nature. You could say Mother Nature because it's feminine. And to make a long story short, Hanuman is perfectly devoted to Ram. He's always worshipped Ram. He's totally in devotion. He represents devotion itself and service to God. And he's the only one who can actually rescue Sita from Ravana, and because he has powers. And he does this, and make a long story short, it's through devotion, which is Hanuman, that we are united, that Sita's united with Ram. Because at the end of the story, they're brought back together. The whole story, it's an epic, epic long story. But all these stories in the East, by the way, they're all metaphors for waking up, all of them. So Ram and Sita are the beloveds, and through our devotion to God, we're reunited with our true selves. This is the message of the Ramayana, and it's embedded in Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Now we're going to sing this together. I'm going to sit at the piano, and I'm going to sing it once to show you how it goes. And I need to, because we didn't get it on the slide here, the Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, we sing 4 times, okay? And then the Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman, we sing twice. So if I could, I would put 4x after the first 2 lines and 2x after the second 2 lines. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sit and I'm going to sing it and play it, and then we're going to start over, and I'm going to ask the band and all of you to join in singing with us, and this is going to be the congregational hymn today. So I want you to get a flavor and a feel for what kirtan actually is. And so we just repeat this mantra over and over for about 5 minutes, and then we'll just bring it down to, and that'll be it. And then, so, are you ready for that? Can we do that? Okay. So I leave my mic on. I'm going to sing a little bit here.
Can you use a landing for that? Okay.
I think I can use this if it works.
Use this mic here.
So I'm going to sing the whole thing one time, and then I'm going to invite all of you to join in. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram Jai Jai Hanuman. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Everybody, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Sita Ram.